Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to another tank review. Today with the FV201, or also called A45, which we'll also call through the entire game review, gameplays, etc. because it is a little faster. But yeah, what is this tank? This tank is right now a premium which you can get for roughly 30 euros. You get some premium days, I think 3,000 gold and this tank. But yeah, we want to look in deep at these stats, have a gameplay, and well, I want to say to you guys if this tank is worth getting. Why? Because it is only here for a limited time. As always with this tanks, and so now you need to think if it is really worth to get this tank. But first a little bit about the history before we go to the gun stats which I already laid out. The gun stats are, as said, coming afterwards. Now we have a look what exactly are the premium heavy tanks of the British tanks. I know it looks a little bit funny right now, but we only have right now 2 tanks. And they're obviously not displayed right now. I'm a genius. No, it's the FV and the TOC 2. What are the cons of the TOC? It's slow, it's huge, does not have good armor, but it has a ridiculous amount of HP. And it has special matchmaking, at least, which is nice. The FV obviously does not have this feature of special matchmaking, but it has the same gun and a better penetration, which is actually, in my opinion, something. But I think right now it is really important to point out that after those 10 games I played, that the FV201 was more enjoyable to play than the TOC 2. It is obviously more expensive, but it needs less crew members and it only needs a new radio man, but that's not a big problem in my opinion. But yeah, first we go to the gun stats so I can delete all those things. As you can see, the gun is the same as on the TOC 2, but trust me, it has better soft stats. Also, it is the same as the one on the Black Prince. I hope you trust me that I don't want to find it out don't want to get it out of the tech tree and things like this. But it is the same gun. And here are the other guns of the most common tier 7 heavy tanks. The T29, the Tiger 1 and the Tiger P, the AMX M4 and the IS tanks. IS-2, IS-2 Berlin. But yeah, as you can see when we go through the caliber, it's the smallest caliber. This is a problem in the fact that overmatching is right now not going to be considered. For example, the IS-2 with the 122mm will overmatch quite some armor. For example, when an enemy has only 30mm of armor, you have a guaranteed penetration. With that gun, it is quite harder. But yeah, that's only a small little problem. The rate of fire on this gun is ridiculous. Right now I have 3.55 seconds reload time, which is actually enough to permatrack somebody because you keep on damaging it and damaging it and damaging it. The penetration is actually again on the lowest, the lowest amount. Not really a big problem in my opinion. The 171mm of penetration are doing well. Even when I said that the Challenger, which has the same gun, is a 70D, sucks. But there's a problem. The FV has a good turret. Or at least you can think of that. I show you where the weak spot is because this is a major disadvantage. Or this is what I saw through in the games. But in the end, the gun is sufficient for tier 7 to tier 8. Tier 9 can get hard, especially when you have something like a VKP or an ST1. Then, as you can see, as I said, it's the lowest. When it comes to premium penetration, it is not the lowest. The KVK has the second lowest, and the lowest is the one of the 122mm D25T IS gun. Still, the AMX's gun is ridiculous when it comes to penetration, and the one of the T29 is still doing well as well. Yes, I know, that was something like a word pun. like this. Then we come to the damage. As you can see, when you have high DPM, when you have a high rate of fire, your average damage most of the time sucks, as you can think of. We have 150 damage, and trust me, those 150 damage don't impress anybody. Trust me, it is like this. But what impresses you is probably the damage you can deal. Right now I have a DPM of 2553 hit points. This is actually a really good value, but don't get me wrong. I think, and I'm pretty sure, that the Tiger gets a better one. It has roughly 9 shots per minute, and oops, I made a little mistake. It is, to be honest, 230 damage. It is 2160, excuse me. You have a higher DPM, and you have, as far as I know, the highest DPM from all tier 7 heavy tanks. Except for the Black Prince, probably has a little bit more, I don't know, I'm not sure. And this is actually ridiculous cool. You will see it in a gameplay in Prokhorovka where I wasted a top gun because I was a little bit too greedy, but you will see what are the pros and the cons of the gun there. Also, the gun dispersion is actually really okayish with 0.39. As you can see, the American and the Russian tanks have more inaccurate guns, but in return, the German and the French tanks are much more accurate. But now we come to a thing which is, in my opinion, actually quite good, but still you feel that it takes a while to aim in, the aim time. As you can see, it is the lowest amount with the one of the T29, and I really have to say that with the fast reload time, you can even say, hey, just make one shot without aiming, reload, aim, and then you do another shot. It doesn't really matter, you probably lose 1 second, but sometimes you hit and then you gained 150 damage. But this is it to the gun. As you can see, it is a mediocre DPM monstrous gun. And I have to say, this is actually pretty cool. And now I think it is best when we have now a look at the normal stats. And whoops, hello, what the? Oh, what the fuck? I wanted to press this one. Come on, this. Okay, now we have it right. As you can see, this tank has 1500 hit points, which is roughly the average of a tier 7 heavy tank. And, well, not the average, it's above the average. For example, it's on par with the Tiger roughly, because the T29 has 1250 hit points. You have a weight of 56 tons and an engine which has 800 horsepower. These two values are actually not that bad. You have an HP to ton ratio of 14.28, and I also see that you accelerate quite fast to your 30 kilometers top speed. And this is something which I encountered quite often. The British tanks have a really good power to weight ratio but a slow top speed, and this is the same with this tank. You feel like, holy smokes, this is actually a really good acceleration, and then you reach 30 and it's over. You get 35 when you go downhill. It's the same as in the Centurion, FV202 and things like this. You just accelerate super good, you have a super good HP to ton ratio, but the top speed is lacking. For that, the traverse speed with 28 degrees per second is quite good. The turret traverse is much better with 36 degrees, in my opinion. You can really feel it. And now we come to the armor, which is actually important for a heavy tank. And this one is actually quite interesting. It has something like a Centurion hull or a Carnarvon predecessor hull with half its armor and this tumor here. But it's not really that a weak spot, and you don't really need to shoot at it because you most of the time has this thing to shoot at, because 76mm of armor are not much. The same goes for the 50mm of side armor and the 38mm rear. You need to watch out for artillery. But in return you get the Carnarvon's turret. It's a sturdy turret on tier 7, actually really good. The only cons are that, as you can see, there are spaces, especially up here, where you can get penetrated quite easily. Or, for example, here you also need to watch out, because it is not that hard. Sure, it is angled, like here, but here it is much harder to penetrate. and the gun mantle is also quite strong. I really encountered quite much bounces on that gun mantle, which I'm really happy about it. But when you have this tank, you will learn how to use hold down tactics, because when you show your hole, you're most of the time doomed. To the gun stats we already talked about, 3.55 seconds reload time with an ventilation, a tank gun rammer and a vertical stabilizer. Also the stabilization is actually pretty well, especially with this skill, but this equipment, but without skills. And you can see I have a quite good crew. And what another good thing is the fuel range, 396 meters actual, which I have with this crew and this layer, which can get even more. The roughly 400 meters fuel range, or 380 without any equipment, are actually pretty cool, and you can really use them, trust me, it's a really big plus for that tank. But now you're probably wondering what I got in 10 games. And in this 10 games I got 80% win chance, and I know 10 games is not that much, but I think it is enough to tell that this tank is actually pretty good, and I have to say I like it. Average is 1180 in hit in experience. We got 3800 maximum damage. Unfortunately I died in that game, you will have a look at that. 5 kills, I was too greedy as I said. 2000 maximum experience. And as you can see, 2 top guns, 3 Confederate and 1 Defender, as well as 24% on the Mark of Excellence, which is actually a good value. But now I don't want to talk any longer. We are now going into the gameplay on Fire Resilient or Prokhorovka, which is in my opinion my favorite map. So here we are in the gameplay scene on the map Fire Resilient, the HD version of Prokhorovka. And as you can see, we are top tier without any enemy artillery, which I am super happy about. And you will see that this tank with 0.39 accuracy is actually really good for sniping, because in the end we dealt a ridiculous amount of damage by sniping. But a thing you need to watch out for is that your shells travel at a quite low speed, which is something you need to watch out for. And yes, as you can see, we have a quite little dance with the Tiger P, and we're going to my most favorite position, which I already said in my map review or map guide on this map, why I take this position. And as you can see, the enemy has quite a bunch of TDs, well, 3, but they will be a pain in the arse, as well as a good amount of scouts and a medium amount of heavies. And now, before we keep on going about this position, this game, as you can see, we have 39 AP shots, 25 APCR and 10 HEs, and those 10 HEs can be used against Hummels and Nas Horns, which I did in another game, and it's quite useful, trust me. But the amount of shells is actually not that high when you compare it to the 92 shells of the Japanese Tiger. But it is sufficient when you not spam too much. And you will see I will use every AP shell and need to fire APCR in the end. But I think first it is a good time to tell you why this position is great. You can fire on the right side. For example, where the E25 was standing, you could shoot. You can shoot on the hill, which is a key position in my opinion, because when the hill falls, you get shot in the back, which is ridiculous annoying and will cost you most of the time your game. Because when one flank dies, you will get boned. As you can see, our first shot unfortunately missed, but our second one hit, and as you can see, the shells travel at a really slow speed. Later on, you will also see that the gun arc, which they are doing, the trajectory is quite bowed. For example, you saw it on the Crusader. And there are even more enemies up there. And as you can see, we detracked him, and now we have 3 damage to deal at him, and we even get some spotting damage. And as you can see here, we had this gun trajectory which is bowed or curved, which is actually really curved because the shell travel at a low speed. But what we are trying to do also in this position is to stand hold down, which is the most important thing with this tank, because your hull does not withstand anything. And as you can see, we keep on trying to get some shots on a VKD. We don't have any other targets except for now. Now we get enemy targets, and as you can see, we are now going to aim in and we're going to deal out some damage. 3.55 seconds reload time. As you can see, we deal a really good amount of damage. And we also miss quite well. And now, as you can see, we even have a time to shoot at this little fella, and unfortunately don't get the kill. And we masterous dodge this shell, and now we can see that this little box on the Tiger P is not really modeled. But now he is detracked, and now I was just like, okay, 3.55 seconds reload time, let's do this. We just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. We could drive a little bit further to hit the E25, but I was just like, nah, let's do some more blind shots. And I think I did one or two more, and then I was just like, okay, he moved. I see it by the trajectory. As you can see, it goes over the little street. And now, as I said, the hill is felt, and now we have the ability to shoot at the enemies which are rushing towards us. And still we try to keep on not dying. We keep on trying to stay a little bit closer. And as you can see, unfortunately the shell trajectory is that slow. Missed the AMX ELC, and we get sniped into our hull. As I said, the hull is pretty weak, with 56mm on the side and 76 on the front. You won't win an award with that armor. And now, as you can see, 562 meters. And do we get the kill? Obviously, we get it. And as you can see, I saw, yep, that shell is going to hit, and try to focus already on the VKH. But as you can see, 1390 damage, some blind shots obviously on the Tiger P, but it is 9-9, so it's still open. We do have more tier 7 tanks, but are there good tankers in it is the question. Now, as you can see, we keep on trying to support our allies as much as possible, and I know that sometimes I also suck in leading the target, because the second shot I did on the E25, with a little bit more concentration, I could easily get it. And now, as you can see, we unfortunately missed, and he gets somehow a shot underneath our gun mantlet. But it doesn't matter. We are now loading some APCR shells to punch not through his turret. Another kill not for our bank, for our piggy bank. But at least 1700 damage. We already exceeded our HPs. And as you can see, I am not allowed to go any further because, yeah, I get spotted. And now we will have a look how to dismantle a KV-85 in a ridiculous amount of time. Our penetration is at 300 meters, still 165. We only lose 6mm of penetration, and as you can see, we dismantled him so fast. But now an E25 is capping our base, and there's still a VKH. What am I going to do? Basically, I want to kill the VKH so he can't hit us in the back. And that we are doing with a little bit of auto aim, obviously missing. And we want to help our VKP to get the kills done. And as you can see right now, he is obviously focusing at us, but I think I can tank with my hit points. It's not that a big deal. And here the shell is bouncing our gun mantlet. And I was just like, okay, now it is GG, but we don't have a high amount of signal range, so I don't know what is going on. As you can see, I don't take time, and the E25 gets decapped. Great! And we only have APCR shells left, and we dismantle him. So what are we going to do? Turning around, trying to help our Panther M10, but he is not making it. yeah, unfortunate. But as you can see, we have now 3000 damage and 4 kills. Only an SU-100, which can still be dangerous because no whole armor, and for 390 alpha damage. In return, we still have an VKP as support. And as you can see now, it was just like, the M5 is coming towards us. Let's try to spot him. And there we go. We spot him, and we immediately need to go back into cover because the SU-100 is on alert. He is aiming at us, trust me. There will be some, as you can see, evidence. And now we just make one shot and go back into cover. Now my first idea was to probably get the SU-100 to waste its shot so I can finish off the M5 Stuart. But he's not doing that. So I keep on thinking, okay, he's in the woods. So where can we go that we can't get shot by him, but we can kill the M5 Stuart? There was a neat stone. Let's try this one. Right now I'm trying to not be in line of fire of the SU-100 to finish off that pesky little scout, as you can see. And it worked pretty well. Also the SU-100 missed with his 0.46 accuracy gun, but it worked. And now I keep speeding it a little bit up because right now we're just driving. You can see only 34 going downhill. It's not fast. But we get spotted again, and now we know where the SU-100 is. Roughly. But trust me, SU-100s are fast. They are on a medium tank chassis. That's why right now I try to lure the enemy in shooting at us, because we have 400 meters of view range, which should be enough to get him spotted. And do we get the chance, is the question. We keep on moving towards the woods. I was just like, sooner or later he needs to see me and will shoot at me, and I will see him. He still is at full HP, which is a problem, as far as I know. I didn't saw how much damage the Panther inflicted to him. And I was just like, okay, he needs to be back there, and then I got caught off guard. And this is something which is really pesky in this tank. Your ammo rack is huge, and it will get damaged so often. And as you can see, I was a little bit too greedy. Not yet. He loaded APCR. I didn't pay attention to this. And as you can think of, the SU-100 will finish us. We don't get, unfortunately, the Top Gun, but actually quite good footage. And there I was just like, yep, I got coughed again with my hands, with my pants dropped down. And the SU-100 is a one-shot for the VKP, but it gets intense. Because, look at this, the VKP is just like, I can shoot while driving and hitting. KK gets a no damage hit into the gun mantlet with APCR. He misses. He misses again. He gets a shot into the tracks. He's now one shot. But he kills him. Phew! Because the SU-100 bounced the shell in his gun mantlet, we won the game. It was too close in my opinion. He wasted so many shots on the SU-100, but we won it. I'm happy about it. Seriously. And we've got some really cool things. We got an ace tanker, 70% hit chance, we shot 50 shots and hit 35, did 500 spotting damage and 3,800 damage by ourselves. We got the Defender medal, we got the High Caliber medal and the Confederate medal. We did roughly 3 times more damage than the VKP, which has the second most amount of damage in our team. And we did 600 more damage than SU-100 roughly. It was a good game, trust me. It was really a good game. We did 3000 damage from a distance of more than 300 meters. So you can see this tank is really good in sniping. Also, we received 9 shots and 2/3 penetrated. We blocked 915 damage and we damaged 11 targets, destroyed 5 of them, spotted 1, got 86 decap points, and yeah, we needed to buy, to give our ammunition guy 32,000 credits because of the gold ammunition. But trust me, the normal AP shots are very cheap, 175 credits per shot. This is a really low amount, and as you can see, the repair is also not high. But yeah, this is the A45, new tier 7 British heavy tank. What do you think? I personally have to say the first game was BS, but I got used to it in these 10 games. I know now how to play. You need to play it defensively, hold downish, and a little bit like Japanese Tiger, but you can snipe in return. And I have to say, I like it. The stats are okayish. It is faster than a TOC 2, more enjoyable in my opinion. And yeah, but what do you guys think? Write it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you think this review is informative. It is objective, informative as I said, and personal. If it is so, write it in the comments and I'm happy that I could help you. And as always, good luck on the battlefield.